beautiful, gorgeous, scrumptious blanket that Tony has designed. Tony, thank you so much. It's been a
Pleasure.
blast.
Yeah, yes. I'm just in the process of putting all the border on, which is lovely. So yes, so you'll be putting on, you'll get your video and yarn on how to yarn and show you how to put it all together, which will be exciting. It's going to be fun.
So this time round, there is only one video, and that's Tony. We're not doing a left-handed video because you don't actually need it. You know the stitches already and how to do that. And so we decided that it was just a bit of overkill, I think.
Right with that. And the crochet stitches that you use to crochet around the blanket, you've all been shown how to do that regardless of whether you're left-handed or right-handed. So we felt that just the one video was probably enough. But, you know, we do have the afternoon tea coming up toward the end of the month. So look out on the Facebook page. There'll be notification of that. I was going to mention, and I can't think. Oh, we also cover joining your yarn. So all your yarn that you've had left over from your blocks, I need you to put it all together so that you end up with just 4 big balls of yarn. So when you're doing your border, you end up with 4 balls of yarn. So I'll show you in the video how to do a magic knot. And in your last piece, your last pattern pack, you'll have a photo of the blanket, not with the crocheted edge all the way around, but the blocks all sewn together. So you'll get an idea of how the colours look in the monochrome. And then you can use that as a guide for the gemstone if you're doing the gemstone blocks. And on the back of that will be pretty much the step-by-step on how to do the edge and how to do the sewing up and that kind of thing. But the video is much more helpful than the written word, of course. But they go hand in hand.
And just finally, you will receive one more ball. It is very different to the yarn that you've used that you will actually use to sew up. Okay, not the border.
That's right, yeah, because I found when I began to start sewing up, because we use a half mattress stitch, because I wanted the blocks to butt join together and be invisible, because I didn't want anything to detract from the blocks. I wanted to look like a true patchwork rather than a crocheted join. You pull the thread to make the thread disappear, the yarn. And when you do that, with this particular yarn, it just breaks because it's so lovely and soft. So we took a decision to provide you with a different yarn to sew up. And you can see if I was to pull this really hard, you can see how this is a slightly different colour. I've used like a pale grey yarn that's like an acrylic, but it's quite strong because it's a blanket. So people are going to chuck it around on their bed, on the back of their chair, it may even end up in the car. Some people may end up putting it on the ground as a picnic rug. Who knows what it's going to do? So you want it to be quite sturdy, and I was concerned that if people made their blanket and then sewed it up with this soft yarn, that it would just come apart, and then that would just be heartbreaking after you've done all that work. So you're going to get another ball of yarn with your last bit of the pattern for your construction and decorative edge. So hopefully that will be helpful.
Yep, and this one is hand washed, so please don't put it in the machine.
No, definitely not.
Soak it in the bath and drain the bath and squeeze it dry, and that's how you wash it. It'll be lovely. Just gorgeous.
Yep, beautiful. We love it. So thanks very much for coming on the journey with us.
Yeah,
we look forward to the next one.
All right.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Well, welcome to the very last video for your blanket before you come and have your afternoon tea and show me everything that you've made. So this month you will receive, or you will need to come and collect, 1 ball of this particular yarn. Now you don't sew your blanket up in the yarn that was provided because the yarn is very, very soft, which you will have discovered by now when you've made your blanket. So I can show you with a piece here like this. If I just give this a pull, it just breaks. You can imagine if you were playing with your blanket or the kids were playing with the blanket and you'd sewn it up with this, it's just going to fall apart. So we don't sew up with that yarn. We sew up with something that's quite strong and durable, so we've chosen a nice strong acrylic yarn. And we sew up using a half mattress stitch. So don't panic if you don't know how to do it. We're going to walk you through it. I'm also going to recommend you use a product that's like a clip. They're called claw clips, made by Coco Knits. You can also use pins if you wish, or anything else that you like to hold your blocks together. The best way to do this is you join with the right sides facing. And this is where your stitch count suddenly becomes very important, because you're going to sew stitch for stitch all the way across and join your blocks. And you're going to do it in such a way that you will hardly be able to see on the front. So to show you one that I prepared earlier, I've joined these blocks here using this particular ball of yarn. On the back, you can see them if you really pull, and on the front, it's not as visible, but the join is really good and strong, right? The reason that we're doing the blocks joined this way is I don't want anything to detract from all your beautiful work where you've made all these lovely crocheted blocks. Now don't panic. This block here, the green one, is one that I designed, but I decided it was a little bit too complex, so we didn't put it into the Afghan. So maybe if we do another one and we call it a bit more advanced, we might get to do this one in another crochet along. Okay, so these clips come in this nice little package here. So we just put these blocks right sides together after you've blocked them, and we just clip them together like this. And you just open the clips so they've got teeth like that. Can you see those clips like that? And you just clip this through the stitches, and you can see they come all the way through. Can you see those okay? They just hold your stitches in place for you so they don't move. So they help hold everything in place for you. So to start sewing, I'm going to start sewing on the right hand side as I'm looking at it. Now if you were left-handed, for those of you that are left-handed, you would start on the left-hand corner. If you're right-handed, you're going to start on this side. So if you're left-handed, you would not clip this corner. You would clip here and not clip here and start sewing here. But for us right-handers, we're going to start here. But you start it in the same way. So to thread your wool needle, you need a wool needle that's not too pointy, what we call a blunt tip. Hold the yarn over the needle, over the top of the needle, slide it off the needle, and as it comes off the needle, pinch it between your finger and your thumb. Turn the needle so you can see the eye of the needle here like this. And gradually release the pressure between your finger and your thumb, and that allows the yarn to pop through the eye of the needle like this. Yeah? Makes it quite easy. Now all we need is the length that we're going to sew here. Am I in camera? Yeah. The length we're going to sew plus a little bit. I'm just going to cut that to there. Okay, so we're going to start. Bring that to here. Is that better? About here. If you remember, we did 3 single crochets in each corner. So this is 1, that's 2, and that's 3. So this is the first one. So we're going to go into the back loop, remembering that this is the front of the work. So this is the back loop only of the top of that stitch. And pull that yarn. No, am I going the wrong way? Yes, I am. I'm going to go this way, like this. So from that there to there, like this, and leave a tail and hold that with your thumb. Then I'm going to come back over and I'm going to put my needle through the yarn So I'm actually going to split that yarn with my needle. Can you see that? So I've split the yarn. So I've pierced the yarn with the needle so that when I pull that through again, it locks over that. That's not coming undone. All right. So then I'm going to replicate that action from the other side, sewing from the outside in with the middle stitch on this side. So remember that we did 3 single crochets. That's the front loop on this block of this stitch. This is the back loop of this stitch. We're going from this side into here. Right? That's half mattress stitch done. So now we're going to go into the next stitch along, and we're just going to pick up this back loop of this stitch here. See how your stitch has, remember your stitch has 2 loops. So it's this back loop here, like that. Pick up your next one from the back. So you've got, there's your front loop, there's your back loop. We're going to do that again. You're going to do that all the way along. And you end up with this. It looks a bit like shoelaces, I think. I'm going to do a few more so you can see it. Oops, get that tail out of the way. And sew the tail away after. Because the tail's secure, it's not going anywhere. Remember, we split the yarn. So you're going from the outside in, that way. The outside stitch in, the back loop of that single crochet, and again the back loop of that. Looking at the top of the stitch, that's the front loop, and this is the back loop. If I put my finger under that, can you see how these are all backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards? I'm going to take this clip out because it's in my way at the moment. Do a few more and then I will pull the yarn taut and you'll see what happens. So as you're coming along, you'll see that it starts to look a bit like a shoelace. You can see you've got this lovely zigzag pattern happening. So this is from here. So I'm going to hold this here because I'm happy with how this is sitting. I'll hold this here and then I just pull this slowly and gently. And then all that extra thread has just disappeared. This is all sitting nice here. And that's how that looks there. And then when I turn it over, this is how it looks on the other side. I take that clip out and pull that, see? So you can see that's how your join will be. So this is how you're going to join all your blocks, and you'll do that all the way along. If you like, I might just show you once again how to take up extra stitches, because it might be a bit hard to see. So I'm just going to go a little bit slower. All right. So say I want to make these 2 stitches fit into 1 stitch here. All right. So I'm going to take this stitch and then I'm going into this stitch here, which is the back loop. And instead of going into the next back loop on here, I'm going into this loop here, which is this one I've just previously done. Then I go into the next one there. When I pull that in, it stretches this one up and pulls this one down a little bit. So it enables you to put 2 into 1. Enables you to put 2 into 1 a bit more. All right, so if you find that you've got the odd block that has got a couple more stitches, you can quite easily squidge 1 or 2 more in. Now I found when I was sewing mine up that what I did was I put my clips in 1, 2 and 3 like this, like quarters. And then when I got to this clip here, I would take the last one out and leave this one in and make sure that these last stitches matched. So to do that, I just held these in this way and sat there and went like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 and counted them stitch for stitch to make sure that they would match, so that when I got to the end I didn't have to try and fudge it or do a double stitch or anything like that, so that the ends would sit. If you've got to make up stitches or make a gather stitch anywhere, do it in the midsection so you can lose it. You don't want any buckling or bubbling to take place at the corners where you're joining. All right? Okay, well, good luck with your joining. So you will join 4 squares together. And so you'll have 6 rows of 4 squares. Then you'll join all your 4 squares together in rows. So you'll have 24 squares all joined together to make your blanket. So now we're going to start crocheting around the outside of your blanket using your leftover yarn. Now, before we go too much further, actually no, we'll do this bit now and then I can show you the other bit in a minute. So when you're joining yarn in, I actually like to start with a slip knot on my hook. Everybody likes to start things in a different way. I just like to start with a slip knot on my hook. So I've already got yarn happening on my hook. And you're going to join into the corner. So you've got 1, 2, 3 stitches in the corner. It's a little bit dark, but hopefully you can see it. So we're going directly into this 3rd stitch, this 3rd single crochet here under the 2 loops. Oops, I want my working yarn and my, right, and I'm going to pull that yarn through. Twisted that over, here we go. And pull it through in a slip stitch. So now the yarn is joined. And then hopefully you can see that. And then I'm going to do 1, 2 chains. All right. I'm going to do yarn over and I'm going to do a double crochet. That's represents 2 double crochet. I'm going to do 2 chain, yarn over. This is the tail from where I joined in. I'm just going to crochet over that. You can sew it in if you want to. I just crochet over it. And I'm going to do another 2 double crochet into that. So this is your corner here. So I've done 2 double crochet or 2 chain, 1 double crochet, 2 chain, and then 2 double crochet, all in the one spot. Then I'm going to do miss 1 single crochet, and then I'm going to do 2 double crochet into the next single crochet, and I'm going to do that all the way along the edge of the blanket. So no chains, just miss 1 single crochet and do 2 double crochet into the next chain, single crochet, sorry. So not in here, in here. So we've just come all the way along here, and I just want to show you what you need to do when you come to this edge. I haven't sewn that away, but that's okay for this moment. So when you get to this point here, you're going to miss, and we're going to do 2 into here. So into this one here, like that. Right, so that's 2 into this one. And even though I've said miss 1 and then do into the next one, at this point, I think you should do 1 in this one here, because it helps strengthen the join right on the edge of the blanket. All right, and I don't think that looks wrong. So we just do that there, and then we miss this next one and then go into this one. Right, and then you'll continue that all the way along. Right, then when you get to the corner, you're going to do the same thing as I did in the other corner. So you will just get to find your middle one here, and work 2 double crochets, 2 chain and 2 double crochets, and then keep going. Don't worry if you get to the end and you're doing 2 double crochets in the one here, and then the next one along is the middle one. That's okay. It really won't matter. It's a blanket. It'll be okay. Or, you can't miss a whole space, whatever. It'll be all right. So I'm going to stop that there, and then I'm going to introduce another colour on here so you can see how the next row is going to sit on this, all right? So the next colour we put on here is going to be the green. So again, I like to start with a slip knot on my hook. And I'm going to go into the 2 chain space. And I like to try and do it so that my working yarn is up and the tail is at the back. So when I pull that through, they don't get confused. I don't get confused, I should say. See? And then we just slip that into there. All right. Then we're going to do 2 chain. 2. I'm going to do another 2. Another double crochet. 2 chain, and then another 2 double crochet. Right. Now this time, when you go to make your 2 double crochets, we're going to do them in between the other 2. So in here. No, we're not doing a chain, just in between. And the same all the way along till you get to the end. You do the corners in the same way. Okay, so that's how that will sit. Okay, just nice and smooth all the way around the edge, like this. You can, of course, put your colours in whatever order you like, if you want. This is just the order that I've chosen, because I think that's the way I like it to look. So then for me, I'm going to do the next colour I'm going to do is this one, which is the purple. Again, slip knot into the 2 chain space, holding the tail behind my work into there, pull that through, tighten that up. 1 and 2, and then do double crochet, 2 chain, and then 1, 2, then into the between the 2, and then into between the 2. That's your border. That's how it's going to look. So it won't detract from your blanket, but it just sits there nice and soft. There it is under my skin, so you can see the holes are not too big. I think that'll be nice. Now, if you've got more yarn than I've got here, you could potentially do 2 rows of this and 2 rows of each colour if you think you can get round. You could do a row of this, then you could do a row of single crochet in the one colour, and then do a row of this colour and a row of single crochet, and see how that looked. It's entirely up to you. What you've got to remember is it's your blanket. It doesn't have to be the same as everybody else's. It doesn't have to be the same as mine. You do it how you want. That's the golden rule. It has to be how you want it. All right? Okay, so now I'm going to show you how to do a magic knot. And this is how I learnt how to do a magic knot, using 2 different colours, because it made much more sense to me using 2 colours, because it just made it clearer to see what I was doing. The reason I've chosen magic knot for this project is because I don't think a small knot in this project will matter, and it's nice and strong. If you try felting this yarn, it might disintegrate. I tried a Russian join and it didn't hold, so I felt that a knot was better. The magic knot is sometimes referred to as a surgeon's knot, which is what they use when they sew you up when you have surgery, of course. Anyway, so the principle behind it is you can make this knot and then cut the ends really close to the knot and it won't undo. But if you want to, you can leave your ends long and then sew your ends in. It's entirely up to you. So the trick is to make 1 loop going one way and then 1 loop going the other way. 1 loop has a tail at the top and 1 loop has a tail at the bottom. All right, so you've got it like this. So, and what you've got to do is you make sure you tie the top loop to itself, encasing that. So I'm going to wrap the green yarn around the blue and encase the blue like that. Okay, now I'm going to take the blue yarn and I'm going to wrap it around the green yarn. See, so how the blue yarn is now wrapped around the green yarn, and tie it off in just a simple knot, just like that. Then we just take these ends like this. Please God, this is going to work. Yes, see? And then we pull those together. That, wiggle it around like that. That's a Russian, no, not a Russian, what am I saying? Magic knot. Oh my goodness me. Okay, and you can see how it can, I don't know if you can see that, if I pull these threads out. Can you see? Effectively, it's 2 knots. And what happens is this knot is the other side of this knot. But when you pull on this end, the knot from this end is stopping that knot coming undone. And this knot on this end is being stopped by this end. Yeah? So it will never come undone. That's the theory. The only way it comes undone is if you break it. So you should be able to then just take your scissors, can you see that, and cut that quite close, like that. And there's your yarn joined. And you should be able to lose that in your crochet. No problem whatsoever. So what you need to do is every bit of leftover yarn from each block that you've made, what I want you to do is to turn it into one of these. So roll them all together so you end up with 4 big balls like this from all of your yarn, leftover pieces of yarn, so that when you go to crochet around your blanket, you've got 1 big ball to work from. So you don't have to stop and do all this joining as you're working along. All right, so then you've got 4 nice big balls to work from. And that's it. All right, so good luck. Enjoy your magic knot, enjoy your sewing up, enjoy your crocheting around the edges, and hopefully I look forward to seeing you all very soon.